Hey everybody, it's Galmadex, and welcome back to the Final Fantasy Early Access event. Thank you very much to Wizards of the Coast for providing me with this promotional Early Access account, and without further ado, we're just going to hop right back in there. This is another sealed event. We're busting open 6 packs of the brand new Final Fantasy set and building a deck out of just those cards that we opened today. So let's see what sweet rares we get to play with here. We've got some really cool ones. We got Cloud, Midgar Mercenary, and his Buster Sword here. That is absolutely spectacular. Both of these cards are very powerful, and Cloud specifically synergizes excellently with the Buster Sword. You can cast Cloud for 2 mana, search your library for any equipment. Of course, the Buster Sword will be what we're choosing. Reveal it, put it into our hand. Then on turn 3, we spend 3 mana. We cast the Buster Sword that we just tutored for. And on turn 5, we start going crazy with it. We can equip it to Cloud, and if Cloud manages to hit our opponents, then we get to double up the triggered abilities on the Buster Sword. That means we can draw 2 and cast 2 spells for free. Absolutely spectacular. Immediately incredibly interested in that. And then there's multiple other directions to go here. We have 2 great green rares, Traveling Chocobos, doubling up all the triggered abilities of your birds and your lands. And all of the birds are Chocobos for the most part that have landfall abilities. So they have abilities that will trigger whenever you play a land. So this is really synergistic with all the other Chocobos in the set. And just a good card draw engine in general. You just get to play lands off the top of your deck, no matter what kind of deck you're playing. We've also got Esper Origins, which I'm not 100% sure how it works. So we got a 2 mana, Surveil 2, gain 2, and then 4 mana, Flash It Back, Surveil 2, gain 2, and get the Saga, which is, ooh, a creature. Nice. Okay, yeah, it's one of the summons, so it's a Saga creature. So you're going to get these 3 chapters worth of abilities off the creature, and then the creature will sacrifice itself and be gone forever. So much like summons in the game. Comes out, helps you in battle for a few turns, and then it's going to be gone. So this one's a 4/4, reveals the top card of the library. If it's a permanent, you get to draw it, and then it gets 2 mana, and then gives your whole board +2/+2 champs. So this seems pretty strong. Pretty strong card there to go with the Traveling Chocobo green deck. Or if we want to play black instead, we have the classic Dark Confidant. Really powerful card draw engine, but a very risky one. You do lose a lot of life to this card. Still think it's going to be pretty dang good, especially if you build your deck around it and keep your mana costs pretty low on average. There's also Xenos, which is wildly strong on the right board state. This is a one-sided board wipe. You just wipe out all your opponent's creatures with 2 or less toughness, except for one of them. You do have to let them keep 1 creature on board. So it is matchup dependent. It depends on what your opponent is playing. But if they have a good amount of creatures on board, if they have a lot of token production, this card is devastating. And that's not to mention that you get to turn this thing into an 8/8 flyer once you clear out one of those creatures, which is pretty insane. We've also got the Darkness Crystal for the black deck as well. This one's probably the slowest rare that we have here, but a really strong one. So 4 mana, you're just exiling every creature that dies and gaining 2 life. Once you get to 6 mana, though, you get to start spinning those creatures back onto the board with 2 extra +1/+1 counters on it. So you play your opponent's creatures against them. Pretty rude card, but pretty strong in a long game of Magic. We've got a blue-red wizard card, Tella, Great Sage, 5 mana for a 3/3. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, get a 1/1 hero, and if 4 or more mana were spent to cast the spell, you draw 2 cards. If 8 or more mana were spent to cast the spell, you sacrifice and deal that much to each opponent. That is pretty strong. Every non-creature spell you cast gives you a 1/1. The larger ones draw you 2 cards as well. Yeah, this is a wildly good card. And then Zell is really good with the landfall stuff as well. Going with all the Chocobos, letting you play 2 lands a turn, and then also pick up a land so that you can replay that land again the next turn. Really sweet rares here. Tons of different ways we could go with it. Personally, I really want to be able to play Cloud and the Buster Sword, because that would just be phenomenal. So I'm hoping our white is really good. We've also got Memories of Nibelheim, so we could try to play a super flavorful deck here, as much Final Fantasy VII as possible. That would be pretty sick. Yeah, I'm super interested in playing the white, but I do want to look through, show off all of the memories of the past. I forget the name for these cards, but these cards that show off a lot of classic iconic artwork and scenes from the games. on reprints. There's one of these in about every 3 packs in terms of play boosters. And I think it's just really sweet they gave us these really cool reprints that you can open up just in regular booster packs. They're not collector booster exclusive or anything. So like this Shadowbringers is Dovin's Veto. That's just such cool artwork. Oh, that's so sick. Card itself, kind of whatever. Very similar to the Memories of Nibelheim, kind of whatever. But the artwork is so cool. And some of them are really good. I mean, there's like Ragavan, the mythic rare monkey from Modern Horizons, got a reprint as Zidane, probably the most monkey of Final Fantasy protagonists. And then there's, I don't know, there's other really good mythics, like Nyxbloom Ancient, the big 5/5 tree folk that like triples your mana. It's like some big djinn from one of the early Final Fantasy games. So some cool stuff there. So what do we have in terms of equipment? We have one Buster Sword. There is a Lionheart that I can play as well if I'm going to be playing white and playing Cloud. This is not nearly as good as Buster Sword, obviously, even though technically, gameplay-wise, in terms of power level within Final Fantasy, this should be pretty much as good as Buster Sword. This is like a super, super strong Gunblade. Like, you can do some crazy, like, limit break sort of things with it. I don't think they're technically limit breaks in 8. I don't remember what they're called, but there's like overkill, like 9,999 damage things going on with this weapon late in the game. Anyways, I'll stop gushing about Final Fantasy awesomeness. The point is, if I draw Cloud after I've already drawn the Buster Sword, having a backup equipment, even if it's just okay, is going to make sure that Cloud can still give us some value off of his tutor effect. So that'll be nice to have. So nice to see that we do have an additional equipment. I like the Blitzball a lot. There's a ton of legends in the set. Obviously, all of the named characters from the games are going to be legendary, and that's a lot of what's in the set. We got Gladiolus, Radia, Garland, Tella, Cloud, all this stuff. Prompto doing the selfie too. Oh my god, set is so good. So yeah, Blitzball, very, very solid card, giving you the fixing early and almost guaranteed to draw you a couple cards later. World Map is decent fixing as well. So we have Blitzball and World Map for fixing for whatever we play. Buster Sword and Lionheart for equipments to go with Cloud if we go in that direction. And for multicolored cards, I do like to take a look at the multicolored uncommons because they tend to be about as strong as your average rare. So they're pretty important to check out. Here we got good stuff for the landfall decks in green-red with Rydia and Gladiolus. Garland is a solid Rakdos card, really good value, being able to recast them later. That is it for multicolored. I guess there's a Dovin's Veto, but that's not super worth mentioning. All right. Yeah, cool multicolored stuff, but nothing quite as powerful as our monocolored rares. So it is going to be all up to what are the best colors, and white is looking like a really good one. Some important cards to keep track of here are removal spells. We have 2 white aura sites for that, as well as Memories of Nibelheim. If my secondary color is really low on removal, I can run this as well, but this is not a card that I want to play if I have enough removal spells that just straight up destroy or exile something, because this is significantly worse since you're giving them something back. There are a lot of good ways you can use a 1/1 human token. Even if the 1/1 stat line doesn't matter too much by itself, it could stack up into a good double block. You could have ways to sacrifice the human for value. You could have equipment to attach to it. You are giving your opponent some genuine value back when you cast this removal spell, unlike a card like White Aura Sight where they just lose the card, period. They don't get anything back there. Phoenix down. Exile a skeleton, spirit, or zombie, or reanimate a 4-mana or less creature from your grave. That's very flavorful. Kind of narrow, but pretty flavorful. We got 3 Magitech infantry, by the way, which means that we can actually run all 3 of these and have them tutor each other out. That's pretty fun. Little 2/1s that pick each other up. Yeah, I'm liking this. I'm liking this. Ooh, Delivery Moogle as well can find our White Mage's Staff from our deck, put it into our hand, and we've got a lot of equipment actually here because we have the Crystal Fragments as a cheap equipment. We have the White Mage's Staff. We have, of course, the Buster Sword, and we also have Lionhearts. That's a lot of equipment to run this deck. This is a really nice looking white-based equipment sealed pool. From blue, we have some more of these job select equipments. These are great because they come with a creature automatically attached to the equipment. Or I guess they make a creature that the equipment is automatically attached to. It's technically the other way around, but you get what I'm saying. They're just like a decent creature on curve, your 2 mana 2/1, but they also leave that equipment behind for later. So I do like those, but this is just like a bunch of decent commons and uncommons in blue. It's not a particularly exciting color here. Out of our black, we've of course got that Xenos that seems pretty insane. We've got the Darkness Crystal if we want to try to play the long game. We've got a decent removal spell with Vane's Treachery, but we're kind of low on removal. Vane, Xenos, and Gaius all kind of work like removal. Yeah, I mean, we kind of want to have an expendable creature on the board for Gaius, but that can be a good piece of pseudo interaction as well. We've got the Dark Confidant in black. We've also got Tonberry, really slow, but almost impossible to block during your turn. Like, imagine putting the Buster Sword on this thing. Like, what are they going to do? They're going to block, get first strike, death touch, and lose a creature every turn, or they're going to not block, and you're going to just keep casting, drawing extra cards and casting spells for free every turn. Tonberry with a Buster Sword is a nightmare that I did not anticipate happening, but that's something we could do in black-white here that seems pretty exciting, so pretty interested in the black. Moving on to our red here, we've got another equipment here with Warrior's Sword. That's obviously synergistic. We've got a Suplex here for decent removal. That's it for the removal, though, just the one Suplex. Call the Mountain Chocobo. These are good cards for decks that want to get to really high mana values, because you get a creature and a land off of this spell, and then you do it again once you flashback. Seems really nice for like the green-red landfall decks. We've got the Prompt, though, which is obviously hilarious, taking a selfie there. 2 mana 2/2 haste maybe gives you some treasures when you cast some big spells. Yeah, red seems pretty fine here. I'm still more interested in the black-white build than the red, but that is cool. And green, we're a little bit low on card count here, but there are some pretty good cards. The Traveling Chocobo obviously being pretty wild. Double Bard's Bow is nice to go with anything that cares about equipments. And then the Esper Origin seems pretty fine too. But there's not a lot of birds to synergize with the Chocobo. It's just going to be that good land value off the top. And that's kind of it for really exciting cards. Yeah, I'm going to black-white it up. We're going to go for a cloud-based deck here. Get the Buster Sword in here. This is going to be a cool one. We could play the Lunatic Pandora. 6 mana is kind of a lot to blow something up, but when you're low on removal, it is removal. It's kind of a shame Blitzball's not an equipment. That would be funny. That would work pretty well for us. Okay. Let's see what we got here. We got 52 cards in this deck, so we need to cut 12 cards to get to your average card count. I will be running a decent amount of equipment, so I'm going to be a relatively aggressive deck, and I really want to be at like the 15 to 17 creature count here, ideally. So let's focus on that immediately. Let's get the creatures that we want in this deck. We currently have 18, but one thing that's also important to mention is you should sort all of your job select spells into your creature count and count them as creatures. So like our White Mage's Staff here. If I look at the creature count, it says 18, but it's not counting White Mage's Staff in the creature count. So we want to make sure to do that. So our creature count here is 19, which means we can cut 2 to 4 creatures and still be at that 15 to 17 nice creature-heavy sealed deck count. So let's go through here, cut 2 to 4 of these creatures, and probably focus up on the mana curve a little bit. I don't think the Iron Giant is particularly powerful, and if we keep the mana curve in this deck pretty low, we might be able to cut a land as well and play a nice streamlined curve. So I think we get rid of the 7-drop here for sure. Definitely not getting rid of Delivery Moogle. Namazu Trader, 4 mana 3/4. When it enters, you lose a life, get a treasure. Whenever this creature attacks, you can sack a creature artifact to surveil 2. It doesn't seem great. I'll cut that out as well, but I will definitely play Gaius. I don't really like these Shinrai reinforcements in this deck. There are a lot of decks that really care about the self-mill that can get a lot of good value out of them. But here, they're just a 3 mana 2/3 that gains 3, basically. So I'm not the biggest fan, but for mana curve purposes, I kind of think I need to still keep them in here. mean, I guess what I could do is I can just play 2 mana cards on turn 3. Right, I can just be like, well, this is my mana curve. 2 drops and then more 2 drops at 3 if I play enough 2 mana cards. I mean, if I leave a lot of 1 mana cards in the deck, that helps as well, right? Because then on turn 3, I can play a 2 mana card and a 1 mana infantry, or a 2 mana card and 1 mana Tonberry, or a 2 mana card and 1 mana Phoenix Down, or whatever I end up playing. So I might still cut these Shinra reinforcements here. So as I said before, we have 2 to 4 cuts to make. I think all the 2 mana cards are better in this deck than the Shinra reinforcements are. So I think I am cutting mostly those. Definitely the 7 drop. I mean, that's horrible with Dark Confidant. Cut the Trader. 2 of the reinforcements, but this is still 15 creatures. Yeah, that's about as low as I would be willing to go. So we're still running one of them as a filler creature. And then we cut 8 cards from all the non-creature stuff. So got a lot of them here. So let's pull them all to the side and then just pull in the good ones. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So I got to cut half of them. So 16 of these cards, that means I literally just put 8 back in and the deck is ready. First and foremost, I think I'm cutting a land here. I'm going to cut a Gold Saucer and then cut the land it auto replaces it with and run 16 lands with this deck, and then probably play mostly the cheaper spells if I can. And by cutting a land, that actually means I get to put 9 of these cards back in. So immediately, Buster Sword. 100% immediately going in this deck. The 2 white Aurasites are great pieces of removal as well. They're going to help us have a little bit of extra mana sitting around in the late game, since we are just a 16-land deck. That'll help us pay for late game equip costs and stuff while doing other things. Play that Lionheart here for another good equipment to tutor out with Cloud. That's kind of flexible. Get a couple damage onto the board to try to clear out a small creature that's relatively important. So I'll play that as well. Vane's Treachery, one of our more efficient removal spells, can also definitely play well in this deck, particularly with the Magitech Infantries. These are really expendable creatures that tutor out more expendable creatures, but also the Job Select equipment that we have here, the Castle Guard that makes a token. There's a couple good things to sacrifice to the Treachery. I do think we're low enough on removal, 2 Auracite and 1 Treachery. I'm fine playing the Lunatic Pandora, and it also plays decently with our mana curve, again, where we have just a bunch of 2 mana stuff to do. Being able to do a 2 mana thing and then also get the initial 1 mana investment out of the way on the Pandora seems fine. Also plays well with Dark Confidant, of course, by having a really low mana value, but being basically our big high mana value late game removal, so that helps it too. 3 more cards to add to the deck. I don't actually think this is the craziest Blitzball deck. I don't think we care that much about a 3 mana Mana Rock. 3 mana is close to the top of our mana curve at that point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's only 6 cards in the whole deck that cost more than 3. Although, again, we have equip costs to pay, so it's not like we stop using all of our mana at that point. There are things to do. I could still play a Blitzball. How many legends do I have in here? Quite a few, right? I guess I actually only have 3 legends in this deck. We have Cloud, Gaius, and Xenos. Yeah, it's not the most consistent. Might I actually play Blitzball then? Could try the Darkness Crystal. It's going to be a really big, really slow card, but this can be like our one big late game finisher if the game goes super long. Try to cast our opponent's creatures against them. Could be fun. I have not tried it at all yet, so I would like to get a little bit of experience with it. So here's 4, 5, 6, 7 cards. So 2 more into the deck now. I have been a fan of Resentful Revelation as a draw spell, digging for the best card of the top 3, putting it into your hand, and then flashing it back again later in the game. It's been pretty solid. 1 final addition to the deck. I don't think I want the 7 mana spell because it's just so horrific with Dark Confidence. Phantom Train. We have some cards that are okay at getting sacrificed, but not a massive amount of them. Not a lot of good synergy for the Phantom Train. I could play Memories of Nibelheim. I'm pretty low on removal. I would almost never play this normally, but that artwork is going a very, very far away for me. I've been like, come on, it's the Cloud deck. We got to do the Tifa scene. Got 1, 2, 3, 4 solid removal spells and some creatures that are pseudo removal with Xenos and Gaius. I really don't think I should play a removal spell that gives our opponent back a 1/1, but I almost can't resist. Phoenix Down might actually be legit in here. We're mostly 4 mana or less creatures. It's like 3 mana, pick up almost any creature in a deck. Pick up any creature in a deck except Xenos. Oh, Phoenix Down might not be awful. Phoenix Down or Crystal Fragments make a lot of sense in here. And I only get to put in one of these 3 cards. Crystal Fragments is cute, because it's going to be just an early equipment. Get a little bit of extra damage in, but it is another one of these spells that doubles as your big 7 mana finisher. It's kind of weak for 7 mana total. The reason is because you get both halves of this card, right? You get all of the value from the Crystal Fragments and also the value off of the Summon later. But when you need that Summon later, you get some big, not unstoppable swings in, but you get to attack in multiple turns in a row without your opponent being able to damage your creatures at all. And then you just get to tap their whole board and attack in with the no blockers up on your opponent's side of the board. So it's a pretty nice finisher too. I actually think this does look pretty solid for this kind of deck. The Fragments and the Phoenix Down, really. I actually kind of want to play both of them because they're also really flexible with Delivery Moogle. Turning Delivery Moogle into a card that can find a 7 mana finisher or a cheap blocker or a removal spell or a reanimation spell, it just feels kind of awesome. Just getting a whole toolbox for the Delivery Moogle. So I'm actually going to run Phoenix Down over something else. I guess I'm not playing the Memories of Midnight, sadly. I could cut the Shinra Reinforcements to just be kind of low on creatures now. 15, because 14 plus our White Mage's Staff here. All right, actually, I guess we're at 14, right? Because I cut this, and then we're at 13 naturally, 14 if you count the staff. That does feel pretty low. I guess I could non-run the Darkness Crystal. That is just a big, really slow card as well. Now I'll just cut the Shinra Reinforcements. I'm going to get a little gambly on this. It's just too fun. I'm going to play all of the coolest cards. So a little bit of a low creature count for an equipment deck, that's for sure, but not too terrible. Still 14. And we have a lot of really fun synergistic things going on here. Cloud and the Buster Sword. I mean, I couldn't resist when I opened it up. Plenty of other ways we could build this sealed pool, but this is the one for me for sure. We have 12 white cards and 9 black, and I've got the double white Cloud being incredibly important, so we're going to run more white sources than black sources. That is 9 white sources and 8 black sources. Call it a deck there, hop into the gameplay, and see how far we can take it today. All right, here we are on the play for game number 1. This is a pretty awkward hand. It is basically 4 removal spells and no creatures and only 1 color. I don't think I'm supposed to keep this, but like in theory, I can just sit here and surveil and then just kill everything they do. Foresight and Lionheart. Let's just see what happens. This is a weird one. I'll take the card advantage of not mulliganing here. I'm going to see how much value there is from just like surveilling one every turn. Another Auracite. I mean, those play pretty well in multiples. Giving us a lot of mana in the late game here. We're gonna suplex the Pandora. That's pretty funny. Magitech Infantry. Actually a pretty decent draw. I'm just gonna keep that. The biggest argument to mill it is that that'll get us closer to another black source, but the nice thing about this is if they don't spend removal on our 1 mana 1/1, then this turns into 3 2/1s, which is pretty important. Literal worst draw on the deck. Drawing a Magitech Infantry when you've already got one. There's Kina, Q Gourmet. If we hit a land, this would be a great Auracite time, but instead, let's just tutor out the other infantry, make sure we don't draw that, and up our land to non-land ratio in the deck here. Earth Crystal. All their green spells cost 1 less. They put +1/+1 counters. They put twice that many +1/+1 counters whenever they do anything involving counters. And for 6 mana, they can put 2 +1/+1 counters wherever they want, which means 4 counters total with the Earth Crystal's ability, because it does trigger its own thing. Okay, there's a black source, which is absolutely wonderful. So now I can Aura Sight the Gourmet and play another infantry, and I can still Aura Sight the Earth Crystal before they can activate it for any value. So this worked really well. These infantries have been pretty dang good this game. I mean, any creature would have been decent, but the fact that we drew the ones that give me another one is pretty awesome. And they're only 1 mana, which made it easy to cast them after the Aura Sight. Ooh, there's Titan. Titan's a really good creature in general. Being 7 toughness is awkward. That's exactly big enough that I can't Treachery it, and I have to actually Aura Sight it, in which case I can't Aura Sight the Earth Crystal. But if I just Treachery whatever creature they play, trying to put counters on it with the Earth Crystal, that'll work too. If I keep their board clear by shooting something with the Lionheart, killing something with the Treachery, that'll be a solid solution here. So they're going to discard a card, draw a card. They don't have the mana to put any counters on Rydia yet, so I can Lionheart her away. Fat Chocobo. Certainly a bigger issue. A 4/4 and a 2/2. Even if I kill the 4/4. And then they can start putting the Earth Crystal counters on the 2/2. Awkward stuff. Let's... I think I have to Treachery without sacking them, and then also Lionheart Rydia and just let them keep the Fat Chocobo, because the Fat Chocobo has to sacrifice itself later. So that's the end goal here, is to get the Chocobo to just die naturally to its own ability. But now that I have Crystal Fragments, I will have the mana to flip that next turn. So that was a really good draw too. The draws have been absolutely ideal this game. Oh wow, that's enough pressure to just take the trade. It's cool with me too. Yeah, there's the concession from our opponent. All right. That was an awkward keep. Almost definitely not correct, but we drew really, really well there. And massive fan of these Magitech infantries in an equipment-heavy deck like this. Slapping just like a Lionheart onto one of those so it can attack into a 4/4 was really, really nice. And they were also going to play super well with the Crystal Fragments here. Just having a bunch of creatures on board when we flip out the Summon Alexander. So that was a really nice first game of Magic. We are 1-0 heading into game 2. All right, much safer hand for game 2, which is pretty nice. Start things off with the Dwarven Castle Guard, draw some cards. Turn after that. And follow up with a Lionheart and a Xenos to keep that board clear. Adalbert Steiner. +1/+1 for each equipment you control, and it's a lifelinker. Oh, when this dies, get a treasure token. Okay, that's pretty good. Solid card to trade into Adalbert with. Rufus Shinra, okay, he's a massive problem. He's too big for us to deal with right now. So every time he attacks, they get a 2/2 dog. And then if they have anything good that sacks a creature for value, they can just keep sacrificing Darkstar over and over and over again. That is really threatening. Oh... Go for the double block on Rufus here with 2 creatures that have death triggers. And then it's not the end of the world if they have the combat trick to protect Rufus. And obviously if they don't, it's just a good block. Period. Adventurer's Airship for a flyer. And they pass the turn. What does Dark Confidant hit? Vane's Treachery. Not bad at all. We have a good board for sacrificing something into that. The Rat or the Castle Guard are fine cards to sack. I don't have the mana to use this incredibly well. I guess I just play the Demon Wall and pass the turn. I'm really likely to Treachery Rufus. But I could see the argument if they crew the airship and want to get that in. Maybe we're supposed to Treachery the airship, because I obviously can't do it at sorcery speed. It's a vehicle, so it's only a creature during their turn. I can't Lionheart that. They are going to crew the airship. Yeah, I have a ton of blockers to keep Rufus off of us. And them drawing a card, discarding a card every turn is pretty dang good value. So let's just shut that vehicle off. And there's their own Demon Wall. And another flyer. Hit a land off Dark Confidant. That is wonderful. You always love to see that. So we clear out the flyer here with Lionheart or play Xenos, but I'm actually losing more than them off Xenos right now. So we just keep Xenos as a backup plan here. I play Lunatic Pandora now. If I draw the 6th land, which I am drawing 2 cards a turn, then I'll have removal up next turn, so let's actually play that. This is kind of just Dark Confidant's game, it looks like. They're staying really far ahead in cards here since they haven't had removal for the Confidant. There's the Circle of Power to do some digging. Look for a way to kill him. They find Cecil, Dark Knight, which is a terrifying card. 1 mana, 2/3 Death Touch. There's a Phoenix down. Nothing engraved for that yet. They do lose life whenever Cecil deals damage at all, but then once they're at 10 or less, they get a 4/4 lifelinker. Get some indestructible swings in, which is wild. I think we're trying to get to 7 mana to flip the Crystal Fragments and use Alexander to win this game, so we want to play Auracite here to get more mana. Probably exile Shinra or the Demon Wall currently. I think Shinra. And then I got the 2 mana equipped for Lionheart. Sure, we'll put it on the rat here. Next turn I have the 6 mana now for the Pandora to blow up Cecil or the Demon Wall. And then Xenos can blow everybody else up, and we might be getting to the point soon enough that I'm just okay with killing our own Dark Confidant just to stop taking any damage. Like, if they start getting ping damage in with this little wizard, and we hit like another expensive card, that'll be really bad. Speaking of really bad, Buster Sword is an absolute nightmare, so we're gonna have to blow up the Buster Sword, I think, rather than anything else. I mean, I guess if they go for a swing here, I have the double block. Yeah, 5/5. Castle Guard's gonna die anyway. Excuse me. Treasure token's pretty nice. I'll take this double block trade. They lose 5 life, go to 13. We keep them from triggering the Buster Sword. This is not bad at all. Draw another land. Beautiful work from Dark Confidant. Absolutely love to see it. Can play Magitech Infantry and still have the 6 up for Lunatic Pandora. That is an instant speed ability. If they attack, we blow up the Buster Sword. If they don't attack, we don't have to. And I can spend all of this mana on using Magitech Infantry twice or using the Demon Wall once. A lot of excellent options. Yeah, just the threat of activation here, the threat of being able to blow up Buster Sword at instant speed keeps them from being able to attack with Steiner, which frees up all of our mana to just expand our board even farther. And get to where flipping the fragments is going to be super lethal. I suppose it's probably better to just put counters on the Demon Wall here. That way Xenos is still like a viable option for killing our own Dark Confidant. Because if I play a bunch of Magitech Infantries and then I end up using Xenos, I'm just throwing more infantries into my grave. Alright, well, we'll do the thing if they're going to force our hand here. Naturally draw the next Magitech Infantry, never what you want. Hey, Darkness Crystal. Now we gain life every time somebody dies. Feels great. God, there's so many sick ways to play this out. Just keep playing the coolest cards, I guess. Could play Xenos in the same turn, jeez. Oh. There's so many things on this board. It's a lot to keep track of. I've got exactly 3 mana up if I don't crack the treasure. I think I'm getting another infantry. Land for turn. They are definitely flooding over there. We have not hit a land in a while, it looks like, compared to them. They juice up the Demon Wall. Another land, beautiful work, thank you, Dark Confidant, very cool. Let's get things, oops, wrong one. Let's get things rolling. Chapter 3 of this will end the game on the spot. Just tap their whole board and attack for 13. Super big Demon Wall. A little bit of life gain from the White Mage's Staff. I enjoy that. Each player sacks a non-token creature. We'll sack a 2/1. I could sack Dark Confidant, but I'm gaining 2 off of making them sack a card, and then I'm gaining more off of the White Mage's Staff here. This was really just Dark Confidant's game. Just an uncontested Dark Confidant for a really long time. putting us way ahead in cards. There were infinite ways to play this game out that all very likely win just because we're so far ahead in card advantage. Very simple. Game 2 here, unless they have an incredible mythic rare or rare bomb of their own. We wrap things up next turn with the tap all their creatures ability. And there's a concession from our opponent, and that is 2-0, heading into game 3. All right, game number 3. We've got infantry into the castle guard, into Buster Sword. If I've got any creatures still on the board to slap this thing onto, that is going to be a nightmare for our opponents to deal with. So this is an absolute slam dunk keep here. If we draw into the 4th land, we can also try to clear out a creature with this Lionheart to get the Buster Sword swinging in. Don't even need to tutor another infantry to give it the buff. It'll be a 2-1 as soon as the Buster Sword comes out. Although tutoring the creatures is kind of the value in itself. I would prefer to get a treasure token at this point than I would to just get a little 1-1 token if one of my creatures dies. Being able to speed out 2 of these cards at once or play and equip in the same turn would be a big deal. There's Phoenix down from our opponent, no blockers from them here. Cast the Buster Sword pre-combat to get the extra damage in. And then if they don't have the good block next turn, we can end this game really quickly off of Buster Sword. No creatures? I don't really want to play Lionheart on the empty board. Well, that's a good draw. Now I can just play 2 2-mana creatures. Boom, boom. Beyond Bahamut's Dominant. I don't know what all that does, but probably not enough to survive here. I guess it trades into the infantry, and they take 6, go to 2. Sure. Can reanimate it with the Phoenix down, that's pretty good. Yeah, this is pretty good. 4 mana for a 3/3 and a 2/2. Doesn't even really matter what the other half does. But the other half looks also good. +1/+1 counter on your whole board. Yeah, it really looks like all of the Final Fantasy 16 cards are fantastic. All of the Final Fantasy 16 legends that like turn into summons and then flip back into their front half, they all seem really, really good. So those are all pretty sweet. But still a little bit too slow because our start was incredibly fast that game. And we are 3-0 because it turns out the Buster Sword is indeed busted. All right, here we are on the play for game number 3. We are really happy to be on the play with this deck. We're pretty aggressive. We've got the infantry turn 1 again. We can just curve into a turn 3 activation here, or I could play just like a rat in the fragments. I'm gonna play the Castle Guard on turn 2 if I don't draw another white source. Because I've got 2 black sources, but only 1 white, so I can't cast 2 white spells in 1 turn and play the Castle Guard and the Fragments in the same turn on turn 3 here. Alright, we're chilling, we're vibing. I think supposed to just tutor out an infantry here for solid value. The trades are all decent. All right, we're down to 16. Another mana, so now I can grab yet another infantry and play the crystal fragments in the same turn. We can threaten an instant since it is an instant speed ability. Gigantode. Welcome. 4/4 body is kind of a problem. Can't attack through that, which is why we draw into the removal right on time. As you do. Got them down to 5. There's the fat Chocobo. 4/4 and a 2/2. Great way to help them stabilize, but there's the Aura Sight again. Yeah, you do love to see it, don't you? I need to hold a black source untapped here so that once the Aura Sight resolves, I can also cast one of my 2-mana spells. I think we're just playing the creature. Yep, put the 1, get a 1/1 back, play a 2/2. Should be very difficult for them not to take 1 more damage next turn. Okay, eject is pretty good. Getting the enter the battlefield effect on the Chocobo again. It's multiple blockers here. And there's Torgal, that's 3 blockers. 3 blockers is not 4 though, that is lethal on board. Send in the team, get that 1/1 in there, and wrap things up here. That is 4-0, I think. Undefeated with this excellent little equipment deck. Game number 5. Here we are on the play. Let's just get the Tonberry rolling. ASAP. I think I'm going to skip out on a 2-mana play just to have the Tonberry down. That might be wrong. Because if I draw any land, I have 2 black sources already. So if we have a 3rd land on the board, then what I can do is play a 2-mana spell turn 2. And then turn 3, I can play a 2-mana and a 1-mana spell at the same time. Yeah, I'm probably supposed to play it like that. It is going to mean significantly less damage, though, waiting on Tonberry till turn 3. But it's a much more mana-efficient way to run things out here. Oh, boy. Come on out, Dark Confidant. I need to draw lands pretty bad, so let's get the card draw rolling if we can. Green-white from our opponent. We'll see if they have that, like, Chocobo kick sorcery to clear out the Confidant. They do not. They have the Chocobo Producer, 2-mana 2/2 Chocobo, and we did hit the land off the Confidant, which is a free draw. We spend no life to do so. Now I can play the Tonberry. We want to play that alongside a solid blocker. I think we just want to play it alongside a blocker that I don't care if it dies or not. So I want to play it with the Rats instead of the Demon Wall. If I play with the Demon Wall, they still get a very reasonable attack in with the Death Toucher. But this way, trading into anything with the Dire Rat is pretty good. The Treasure Token is fantastic here. Think I have to stop more damage. Trade into the larger creature. There's Squall. Okay. The way things are playing out right now, I really don't mind a Xenos. All their cards are small enough to die to it. The only thing I don't like, of course, is we will lose the Dark Confidant if I play it out that way, which is likely not quite worth it. Yeah, I guess I can just Aura Sight and still have Treachery up here. Like, if your opponent doesn't have the removal for Dark Confidant, you're probably just supposed to do literally everything you can to keep it around forever. So I'll just do that here. To the point where I'm even going to hold up Treachery instead of playing Demon Wall, because all the green removal spells make one of your creatures deal damage to an opponent's creature. So if I hold up Treachery, they can't kill Dark Confidant with any green removal spells. Just lowers the list of outs that they could have by half. Now they have to have specifically a white removal spell to kill the Confidant. Send in the 1 damage, we'll take it. Draw another land. God, this Confidant's been insane. Demon Well does not die to Xenos, so we are perfectly happy to play it. I guess I don't get to hold up Treachery anymore if I just want to get max damage here. Yeah, that's fine. I could still deal 2 damage there with no counterattack or no good block, because the Tonberry just cannot be blocked, basically. But in order to get the extra Dark Confidant damage in as well, clear out the Moogle. Plain cycle this Cloudbound Moogles. They need to hit 5 mana for something, 5 or more mana. So something really big and scary in their hand. Venat, Heart of Hydaelyn. Whenever you cast a legendary, draw a card. Once per turn, you can transform them into a big indestructible card that puts counters on their creatures. Okay, I've got exactly enough to just play the Pandora and kill that, so I think you know what we're doing here. I guess I have more than enough, technically. Thanks to the treasure token. Gigantode. Draw White Mage's Staff, draw Magitech Infantry. Is that our first infantry? Oh, wow, it is. This is a lot of creatures off of this one spell. Play this. I want to hold up at least 3 mana if I can. Spend 2 and equip 3, and then I do still have the 3 up to use infantry once. Let's get the life gain rolling, thanks to Tonberry being pretty much unstoppable. To counteract the Confidant life loss. This deck is crazy. This deck is so good. I mean, the 2 Confidant games that we've had have been really lucky. Like, again, as I said last time, just if you don't have removal for Dark Confidant, things just going to run away with the game in both these games. Recently, we've just gotten an uncontested Dark Confidant for a million turns. He's hit so many lands too, so we haven't even lost a lot of life to him or anything. Boy, oh boy. Probably play and flip the fragments, get the flyer out here, get ready to do the tap the whole board ability. But I don't want to attack too hard here. Like, I could theoretically get some value out of attacking with creatures that can't be dealt damage, but I'd rather just have more blockers up to make sure that I survive till I hit Chapter 3 and lock that in as a kill. They will chump block the Tonberry. I do have to activate Crystal Fragments immediately. It is sorcery speed. Oh, I guess I had the mana to actually equip it to Tonberry before I flipped. Could have gotten... Well, I guess they blocked. They chump blocked anyway, so we wouldn't have gotten the extra damage in. Forest Cycle the T-Rex is sorry to get up to the Chocobo mana, I guess, because they don't have the double green to cast the T-Rex anyway. And there's the concession from our opponent. Dark Confidant just running away with the game, and we are 5-0, undefeated all the way into round number 6. Oh. This is not perfect because one of the lands is tapped. I can't, like, play a 1-drop and then Cloud and then the Buster Sword. But man, this hand is good. We're just going to play Cloud and a Buster Sword. Tons of backup creatures to equip the sword into if they kill the Cloud here. There's the removal spell to clear the path to make sure we get the Buster Sword swing in. This is wonderful. There it is. Cloud tutor for the Buster Sword in sealed. You'll love to see it. It's going to be an absolute rarity. Our opponent's on green, blue, and white. They just passed the turn with the mana up. I don't think there's a 2-mana counter spell, but if there is, they got us here. For like a flash creature. There's like a 2-mana bounce spell and a 2-mana draw card. Let's see. Don't do it to me. Oh, please. Buster Sword on Cloud, baby. One time. They are like a million colors over there. That's really cool. I can play 2 creatures if this doesn't work out. Okay, they have the removal for Cloud. Well, we're going to play 2 creatures. Then, for multiple places to put the sword next turn. Put a stop on my upkeep in case I want to infantry in the upkeep before the draw step to make it less likely that I naturally draw another infantry. Highly unlikely I will do that, but if I don't put the stop there, it won't even give me the option. So let's see. If I top deck a land, I can Aura Sight the blocker and equip Buster Sword. So I think there's no way I'm activating this here. Perfect. Oh my god. Let's go. Get out of my life. Start drawing cards and casting things for free. Oh, draw a 5-drop. I don't actually want to play that right now, though. So just play the 2/2. There's Dion, which has been incredible looking. Now I play the 5. I guess it's awkward. We're going to kill our own Coral or whatever. Then they kind of have to block with Dion, and if they block with Dion, I get an 8/8 here. This is worth it. Oh, I could have played Fragments and also saved the Coral. Yeah, that was wrong. I didn't realize I had the mana to do both those things. Alright, well, we got an 8/8 flyer now. Put the Buster Sword on that. Good luck, opponent. So I can draw a card and cast a card that costs 11 or less for free next turn. Not that we have anything that costs more than 5. This is still insane. Well, they force cycle the T-Rexar. And they scoop. There's no removal for the 11/10 flyer that draws a card and casts something for 11 or less for free. That was incredible. We lived the dream. Cloud into the Buster Sword. They did have the removal for Cloud, so I didn't get to double the Buster Sword triggers. So that part's a little bit sad, but Cloud was still very, very strong, just being able to tutor for the Buster Sword and put it in her hand and let us win the game off of our other random creatures. Incredible stuff. 6 wins in a row, undefeated, all the way into the final boss. And if we win this last game of Magic, that is a full undefeated run in this Final Fantasy pre-release. All right, here we are for the potential final battle. A really nice opening hand. The Dwarven Castle Guard synergizes well with Gaius here. And the Pandora can give us some surveilling if we run out of stuff to do, help us draw the right cards later. Playing against a red deck. Here's Castle Guard. Drawn to the Buster Sword. I guess I know what I'm playing this turn. I doubt they take the trade here, but they might. Be pretty good for us if they did. Alright, here's the Buster Sword. So any creature that's still on our board is now an absolute must-kill threat. There's the Summon Fenrir for our opponent. Make each player sack an enchantment with the Balestar, right? Or Gaius von Balestar. Each player sacks an enchantment of their choice. I have no other enchantments, so let's get Fenrir out of the way. Poke for 2. This guy is good, because there's a lot of solid Saga creatures, like all the summons. So this can be one-sided at times, and when he's not one-sided, there are good ways to have expendable creatures on board to get them to sack a creature or a token or whatever. And Death Touch is awkward. I'm not in love. But I can make them Death Touch trade into the Castle Guard instead of the bigger creature, at least. There's no way they can just take this, because we draw an extra card and cast a spell for free. They go for the Chomp. Decent value. I'll take it. I've got card draw with Buster Sword. I'm just going to keep playing to the board here. Get this Demon Wall down. Make sure I have as many backup creatures as possible to throw my equipment onto. That one I do have to spend 6 to get the +1/+1 counters on it and get it to actually attack, but still good to have it out and get the initial investment out of the way. Chocobo kick, kill the Demon Wall, sure.
Oh, all right, we are here. We're alive. Hello, everybody. This is
and then what did they just surveil one there? Sure. So they're locking in, we get to do the thing. Let's Revelation first then, see if we can find a better card to cast for free. Okay, well infantry is something at least. But we're certainly hoping to draw something a little better than infantry, but I'd play infantry before I play the crystal fragments at least, since I have the mana up to get the other copy out. Wait, they got a 1 mana way to kill the 5/3 here? Nope. We get the trigger, draw the card. Aura Sights. Honestly, I'd rather save that for a scarier threat, so I'm just going to play the infantry. That way I have the 3 mana up to get another infantry out of the deck, and I have a ton of creatures on this board. Make sure somebody can wield the Buster Sword. Sephiroth's Intervention on the Castle Guard. Get our 1/1 hero back. And they're going to fire magic, deal 1 to each creature. Well, that's pretty good. So now I can't use the infantry in response, or they just kill the other one. I guess they should have waited till I got that 1/1/2 at least. No, I guess we just surveil one instead. Cloud, sure. Oh wait, I don't have double white yet. That's awkward. I'm actually going to have to Buster Sword Cloud into play here, which is funny. Kind of the reverse of what you expect. Find... I'm cool to find Lionheart here, just so I can spend the turn putting the Buster Sword on Cloud, because I can't resist. There's 100% a stronger way to play this out, but this game looks pretty unlock at this point regardless. So we'll just go for the full flavor win, see if we can't finish our opponent off with Cloud wielding the Buster Sword. They'll be dead before the card even triggers, so I won't get to do the double trigger thing, but you know. One can have dreams, right? There's already a lethal board if they don't play a good instant here. They take the damage. No triggers on the stack because they've already died. So we did not get to double a Buster Sword trigger with Cloud a single time, but we did get to finish our opponent off with some Cloud damage there in the last game, so that was pretty sweet. This was an awesome deck. Not a lot to say about it negatively at all. I think everything played out really incredibly. The Magitech Infantries, opening up 3 copies of this in sealed is really, really nice. That is not going to happen particularly often, especially opening up 3 copies of these the same time that you open up incredible equipment spells like Buster Sword. I think these cards are like really good with equipment because they make sure that you're going to consistently have some kind of small creature left around to slap some strong equipment onto. So opening up 3 infantry the same time we open up the Buster Sword was incredible. Opening up the Cloud the same time we open up the Buster Sword, absolutely incredible, super iconic. The Wombo combo right off the bat was fantastic. And of course, another massively powerful card, Dark Confidant, won us multiple of those games just by single-handedly drawing so many cards. Dark Confidant in a deck with a lower mana curve like this one, super, super powerful here. And this deck's mana curve isn't even like tremendously low. We do have a lot of 4 mana cards that it could hit and damage us with, so really good stuff there. I will say the Darkness Crystal was just completely pointless in this deck. It never looked like it was going to do anything. It was always kind of irrelevant, so Darkness Crystal, again, could be good for a really long, grindy game, but that's just not how this deck plays out at all for what we saw in the gameplay. The Phoenix Down as well, we never really activated it. I still think that's theoretically pretty good in this deck. Being able to reanimate a Cloud is awesome. Being able to reanimate a Dark Confidant, reanimating a Gaius, a Delivery Moogle. There's a lot of really good options for the Phoenix Down. A little sad we never drew the Delivery Moogle, because this card would have been awesome at any point. Again, with all these artifacts in the deck, being able to tutor the Lunatic Pandora, the Phoenix Down, the White Mage Staff, the Magitech Infantry, or the Crystal Fragments. That's like a really nice, really flexible card here. I mean, it can even search for the Demon Wall. Probably the last thing on our list for what we would want to search for, but it is an option, which is pretty sweet. So even though I never cast the Delivery Moogle, I think it would have been awesome in here. I think everything else in the deck was like pretty solid. I don't think any of these looked bad at all. Really, just in the future in a competitive event, I'd swap out the Darkness Crystal for something else. I guess the Demon Wall wasn't great either, because we were pretty consistently ending the game before we had like the time to spend 6 mana and put some counters on this thing. So I guess we really didn't have a lot of other options in the sealed pool, did we? So we like want to cut the Darkness Crystal and then just put in like a Blitz Ball or an Airship or something. Something else pretty equally filler. Maybe the Memories of Nibelheim, but again, giving your opponent back a 1/1 when you play a removal spell just makes it worse than the Orisites and the Treachery and all the other removal, but I wouldn't have minded a little more interaction. Maybe just like the Combat Trick or something. I don't know. Pretty much anything else over the Darkness Crystal, and then I think this deck is about perfect. I don't think I played it out super correct. Like, there were a lot of turns I could have been focused more on Xenos and done some more powerful stuff, but the deck was just so incredible that it didn't really matter. Kind of just carried us to victory. Yeah. Awesome time. Awesome deck. Not much else to say about it. A full 7-0 undefeated run with the Super Synergy Cloud Buster Sword deck this time around. But that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it and are interested in seeing some more like it, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more in a recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. If you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.